Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we are looking at Studio Series Rhinox from Transformers Rise of the Beast figure number 103 in this line. The artwork is as usual. They have these environmentally friendly packaging. This is a Voyager class. He changes in 29 steps, big screen inspired scale detail backdrop, Peruvian Jungle Discovery. Backdrop included, yep. Rhinox charges onto the scene to protect the Maximal lair from intruders, aka his new colleagues. And then it's got a nice Autobot sign there. It would have been cool if they had a Maximal sign in there. I feel that would have been pretty decent. But hey ho, I mean, it's got one on the front there. Just disappointed it's not on the side. Anyway, let's get Rhinox out of his packaging and have a closer look. I know I say this every time, but it does come with a backdrop. I'm not interested in the backdrop, but it is very cool that they do that. The thing with this, I feel, if it all connected and makes some sort of bigger backdrop, that would have been very cool. But they do not. And in fact, they probably take away space from you on the shelf. Now, Rhinox in the Beast Wars series was a massive character, and one that I was, like many others, excited to see. I'm also very, I can always look at the live action movies and say, I know that is going to be completely different to what I'm used to. And the film was no less. Rhinox barely got any sort of word time, any sort of big moments. And I felt like, once again, they've done the usual missed opportunities. And these are very defined characters that weren't just thrown in there for fodder. They are the Maximal elite. So, a little bit disappointed. All we had to do was say a few words like, you know, that's just dandy, whatever. And we probably would have forgiven it. However, it did not happen. The other thing that I felt was disappointing. I mean, Rhinox, the cartoon, I mean, somebody could just watch him for, he has two massive guns, and just giving him two massive guns. They didn't. They gave him a hammer. I'm not saying that a hammer's a bad thing. I think it's very cool. It does look very decent. I do like how it looks. But compared to the size of the character, this looks very small, very timid. And that is a usual theme with whenever they do these figures. They always seem to get size wrong. It's like Minosaur and the sword. It's a really small sword. It's ridiculous. It does not make sense. So it's the same with Starscream and the Star Saber. It's a small Star Saber. Why wouldn't you give the right size saber? You know, it's maybe it's a cost cutting exercise. I don't know, but I always feel like that is a massive disappointment for me. So, looking at how he looks, I love how he looks. You know, that is a beautiful head sculpt. The eyes I don't feel very well defined in this figure. I do like the sort of the brown little tint every now and then. I feel like that just adds to the character, and it's, you know, you got a little bit of damage on there, bit of weather on there. I feel like that is very awesome. I do like that a great deal. He has this sort of skirt that you can lift up and down, and he's got these little side bits that you can sort of move just to perhaps help with articulation. One thing that irritates me is the feet. I felt like the feet were just a tad bit small, and he has a massive torso. So my concern is that eventually they won't be able to hold his weight and positioning, and he could potentially fall over and damage him. Turning around to the back, it's all very, very nice and neat, I feel. Well, I feel like he looks like, he reminds me of Armadillo. So, very nice and neat, very compact, very well controlled, and it just looks very, very cool. And then you get the sort of the rhinoceros bits on the top, which just stick out over those shoulders, etc. So I feel like it is pretty darn decent, etc. So, in terms of articulation, the head can move around, but because you've got all this bit around it, it's very, very difficult. I'm struggling just to move him slightly. I do like the fact that he's got this silver piece there and around the eyes. The arm can go around 360. You can lift it up. You've got this piece that you can move out the way, get a bit more movement in there. There is swivel on the bicep. There is the usual single there, and that's just actually popped out. You can move the wrist around. Like so, I don't think I've got that in exactly. That's very cool. There is movement there on the waist, which is normal because that probably forms part of his transformation. He can do the full splits like so. If I get that down there, like that, you can do. There is a swivel there, thigh, but just be wary of this piece here. He can also lift that up quite a bit as well, so just bear that in mind. He's got a lefty, upsy, downsy, not much of a righty though. And just as I'm moving him around, little bits just pop out, etc. So just be aware of that. So he does look very, very menacing, very strong, which I do really like. That's just popped off, which is annoying, but I'd rather it pop off than break off. You know what I mean? Nothing worse than breaking a toy that you just brought. And I got this from Comics and Cocktails in the UK. If I can get that back on. I will get that back on in a minute, but yeah, I really do like this robot mode. Very, very strong, very, very powerful. The legs do concern me slightly, but it's not the end of the world. The hammer being a small size is a wee bit disappointing. So let me go transform him into his rhinoceros mode, and we can have a look at that beast mode together. Really sorry, I know you were expecting me to have him transformed into beast mode. However, I didn't highlight the fact that there is a really nice Maximal emblem on the chest piece, and that looks really, really cool. Once again, the armor looks absolutely fantastic. I love how it looks. The claws, the damage, etc. just makes it look so much better than I was expecting, to be fair. So let me transform him now. Beast mode. So here is Rhinox transformed. And firstly, I've got to say that I love how the weapon integrates into the Rhinox mode in access, firing missiles, etc. It's obviously been a few months since I actually watched the film, so I can't remember every single detail. One of my big bugbears is that screw there. That's obvious why they couldn't get a little cap to fill that in. That annoys me. We've also got little screws multiple areas, which is very, very frustrating, and the green eye is very, very small. The mouth does open, but well, would be nice to have a little paint app in there, etc. for the tongue perhaps. However, the rhinoceros, forgot what it's called, is very, very strong and stern, etc. And the body transforms very, very well. One thing I don't understand is this. I don't know. Now, I've looked at the picture. I don't feel like I've transformed it wrong. Maybe I have. But I'm worried that if I put pressure on now, I could snap it. But I feel like that perhaps goes in there, because that just looks odd. But then it doesn't look right if I transform it. So I'm not sure. I mean, if anybody knows, let me know. I may have to watch some reviews afterwards and just double check that I did that bit. But then I guess if you don't do that, maybe this bit doesn't look as strong. It feels a little bit more weaker than perhaps the robot mode. And the other thing about the robot mode was very cool is that they actually did hide the rhinoceros head in there. The back legs are probably the easiest part of the transformation. They literally just fold over. Very nice and simple. And that's why he has little small feet. But yeah, I feel like he looks very, very cool. Very, very stern. Now, compared to some of the other orc modes that we've already seen, let me come out a little bit. So we'll bring in Air Razor, which even though a bird is smaller than a rhinoceros, Air Razor was still quite big. She is so big that in the film she's actually as big as Optimus Primal in his beast mode as they fighting, etc. So I don't see that this is too far off, and they look very cool together. They're bringing in some of the vehicles. We have the truck, which is smaller than the rhinoceros, but once again, is it the end of the world? Probably not. But I guess if Rhinox is hiding in plain sight, a rhinoceros is the size of a small car, but I wouldn't say he's as big as a truck, so probably doesn't blend in very well. It just looks enormous. And then obviously we've got Battle Trap as well, and you know, it just looks horrendous against him and could easily smash him out, etc., whatever you want to call him, whatever you want to do with him, which is pretty cool. And that horn is, like I said, very impressive in terms of getting it in there. You could really do some damage against the Terracons. So yeah, the sizes are a bit weird in auto mode, but what are you gonna do? If he wasn't the same size as probably Optimus Prime in robot mode, we would be really disappointed, wouldn't we? So you can't have everything. So, but yeah, very, very impressive. Another impressive Studio Series figure for Rise of the Beasts. So I hope you like my video. If you do, you like my channel, please support me by subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those already subscribed to my channel. Make sure you look after yourself. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.